everyone, and welcome back to my channel. We are finally getting back into doing YouTube videos. I just want to go ahead and just say that I have on my new FP jeans. They are available on my website. They are so comfy, stretchy. I just really like how they fit me and how durable they are for me. But if you want a pair, you can go check them out on my website at fpgoattying.com. So in this video, we're going to be talking about just the basics of a flank. So there is quite a bit to just the basics of a flank, and honestly it took me a few months, probably even maybe a year, for me to actually figure out how to get a flank that was good, consistent, and controlled. So the first thing that we want to do whenever we get into our flank is have our left leg or our left knee up towards the shoulder of this goat. This is going to help block this goat from hopefully moving forward, but it's also going to be in contact so that we can bump our goat up, which I'll talk about in a minute. Our right knee is going to be in the flank of this goat right here. And whenever I come into my goat, I want to be on my goat's left side, okay? There's a lot of girls who are left-handed that are like, I'll just tie left-handed. I will say usually those girls have a disadvantage because goats aren't used to being tied on their right side. So even with me being left-handed dominantly, I do tie right-handed so that I have the advantage just like every other girl tying. So we want to come in on this left side of our goat whenever we flank. So I've got both of my knees in this goat. Whenever I sit down in my flank, I personally like to pull my heels, or not my heels, the inside of my feet in. That's just where I feel the most balance. Some girls can go up onto their toes, but what you want to do is just keep pressure in your feet whenever you sit down into this flank. For this little of goat, I do have to bring my knees in, which we'll talk more about later. But from here, the next thing is I want to hook my right hand into this goat's flank. I'm not grabbing it, even though I will say I'm bad about it. I'm not grabbing lower underneath this goat's belly. I am literally just grabbing at the goat's flank. My left hand is grabbing at this goat's knee to lock it out, because if I just grab up at like the bicep area of this goat, that's what I'm going to call it, I'm not going to have any, like this goat's leg is going to be floppy, so whenever I need to go for my gather, that leg's going to be floppy and it's not going to work for me. So I like to grab at the knee and kind of just lock its knee out for me. And from this position, what I want to focus on is kind of tucking my hips underneath me. I say like tuck your tail feathers. You can also say tuck your tail like you're like a worried or scared dog. Just anything to kind of tuck your hips under. So instead of being here where my butt is out, I want it tucked under me, okay? The next thing is making sure that we do sit low in our flank. So I'll see a lot of girls kind of lock their knees out like this, but what I want to do is sit down in this flank. So almost think about sitting down in a chair. And with this, you also want to make sure that your chest is up. I don't want any weight in my upper body whenever I'm going into my flank. I like for me to be able to flank this goat using all lower body. Like I don't want to have to use my upper body whatsoever trying to get a goat up. So that's just kind of the rundown, the gist of what our positioning should be. The next thing is, once we get into this position, the next move is to take our knees out. So we're going to bump this goat up. I'm going to take my knees out and drive them back into this goat so that it kind of gives this goat momentum to move up. Okay? It does not hurt your goat whatsoever. So hit your goat as hard as you can to get this goat moving for you, or else you're going to have to use a lot of manual labor to try to get this goat up. So as I'm bumping this goat up, I go from sitting, I pull my hips up just a little and I drive them back under. But as soon as I hit this goat, I want my hips to come up underneath me so that this goat sits across my lap, okay? What this does is kind of creates like a tabletop for this goat to sit on me. So if I am trying to keep a goat in control, look at this position of my leg. This is a downhill position where this goat's just going to run away from me. Whereas if I sit my hips up underneath this goat, it creates a tabletop so that this goat sits across my lap and I can make this goat fall like right between my legs, which is going to give you the fastest flank. Once I get it up here, my next job is to open my knees up just enough and hold my hands at my pockets to let this goat fall in between my legs. Whenever I get to the ground, or as I'm going to the ground, I don't want my hands to move. I am literally just opening my knees up around this goat to let it fall between my legs. You want to go down to the ground with your goat. You don't want your goat hitting the ground before you do. The other thing that you need to think about within this flank is to make sure that, you know, like I said in the beginning, you keep weight or pressure in your feet, and you want to keep that same pressure in your feet as you're going down to the ground with your goat. So if you watch my feet, so just watch my feet in this one, I keep my feet going down the whole entire time. Now, obviously this goat hit sooner than I did, so basically what I did is I didn't either get my goat up or I let it fall, probably let my hands fall down below my flank. So this goat hit the ground before I did. But essentially what you want to do is just make sure that you are keeping the pressure in your feet. Control yourself down into this flank with your goat the whole entire way. You don't just want to like let go of your feet and then both of y'all just like go flying through the air. So in real time, if we're talking about a flank, this is what I want to see girls doing whenever they go into their flank. So once I hit the ground, you can see that the top back leg and the bottom back leg are parallel to each other. And this is what I really want to see whenever I go to gather my legs. What this tells me is that I flanked this goat well and that the leg stayed like within my thigh, my inner thigh, the whole entire time. So it's going to make for a really quick gather. Here's a view from the side position. So essentially, that is just the basics of your flank. There's a lot that goes into it, and do not worry if it takes you more than just like a couple of days or a couple of weeks to figure it out. It takes a very long time. Just make sure that you're keeping control of your goat. So you want to land with your goat. You don't want to see any daylight in your flank in between you and your goat. The other thing is you don't want to hear your goat hit. I am terrible about that, I will say. You don't want to hear your goat hit the ground, like you don't want to hear like a thud or the goat grunt. That shows that you did not have a controlled flank. And so just try to make sure that you're not hearing those things or seeing those things when you're getting into your flank. If you have any questions about this, please reach out to me. You can always find me on social media, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and make sure that you like, subscribe, and comment on this video if there's anything else that I can help you with, and I hope you'll have a great day.